And again, in this lesson, we're going to be covering two sections. We'll be talking about proportional and non-proportional relationships. So, to identify if we have a proportional relationship. So, two quantities are proportional if they have a constant ratio or rate. The constant ratio is called the constant of proportionality. Our first example here, determine whether the cost of coffee is proportional to the number of pounds. If the relationship is proportional, then identify the constant of proportionality and explain your reasoning. The way we're going to do this is to write the rate of the cost 2 pounds of coffee for each column in the table and simplify that fraction. So if we start with our first, 1 pound of coffee costs $3. We're told to write it as cost 2 pounds. So dollars, 2 pounds. So $3 for 1 pound, which would give us a rate of $3 per pound. And then we're going to do this with each of the others. So $6 for 2 pounds, which reduces to 6 divided by 2 is $3 per pound. Then if we look at our $9 bag, so $9 for 3 pounds, which reduces to $3 per pound. And our last row there, our 4 pounds cost $12 for 4 pounds, which 12 divided by 4 does again give us $3 per pound. So we see that we did get a constant rate, which tells us that yes, it is proportional. The constant of proportionality is $3 per pound. Okay, now it may have seemed kind of silly that we had to go through and do each of these rows when we were getting the same number each time, but keep in mind that there could be just one row that was different. Maybe they were having a sale on the $4 bag. So you have to check every single one, unless if you find one that does not match. As soon as you find one that doesn't, then you can stop. You don't have to check the rest, because one that does not match tells us that the entire relationship is not proportional. Okay, a second way you can check is looking at a graph. So another way to determine whether two quantities are proportional is to graph the quantities on the coordinate plane. If the graph of the two quantities is a straight line through the origin, then the two quantities are proportional. So there's two things you're looking for. It must be a straight line. It cannot have any points that fall off of the line, and it must go through the origin. So if we look at this example, we have center B and center A. So center A is the blue line, center B is the red line. Which line is proportional and why? Well, I see they're both straight lines, so we check off that box. But it must also be through the origin. So we check out our origin down here. That's center B. So center B, because first, it's a straight line, and it's through the origin. Again, must have both pieces. Center A does not go through the origin, therefore it is not proportional. Now, since it is proportional, we can find the constant of proportionality, or the unit rate, and then explain what it means. So when we have a graph, our constant of proportionality is going to be found by taking our y coordinate divided by our x coordinate. So if we go to our center B line, we can pick any one of these points that are given. You can pick one that's not given, you just have to count it. So if I chose this point, we're looking at 30, 300. Our y value is 300 divided by our x value, which is 30. We go ahead and divide those out, so 300 divided by 30 is 10. So our constant of proportionality is 10, but then we have to explain it. Remember, rates require labels. that tells us it is $10 per guest, which came from looking at our labels here. Our Y was our numerator, so that's first. Our cost, so dollars per. Our X label is number of guests, so dollars per guest, $10 per guest. Okay, now using proportional relationships. Proportional relationships can also be described using equations of the form y equals kx, where k is the constant ratio or the constant of proportionality. So we've been working on finding that constant of proportionality. Now we're going to take it and make an equation out of it. Let's try an example. A circle's circumference is proportional to its diameter. Use the figure to find the constant of proportionality. Then write an equation relating the circumference of the circle to its diameter. And finally, what is the circumference of the circle with a 6-inch diameter? Okay, this is asking us to do 3 different things here. So we're going to take it step by step. First off, use the figure to find the constant of proportionality. So this is 1. When we are finding our constant, we're told that circumference is proportional to diameter. So C is proportional to diameter, which is going to give us our constant of proportionality, which is K. Remember, K for constant. Now, if we look at the actual example here, we see that our diameter is 4 meters, and the circumference is 12.56 meters. So substituting that in, 12.56 divided by 4 gives us our K. So if we go ahead and divide that out, we get that K equals 3.14. Okay, that was part 1. Now, part 2. Write an equation relating the circumference of the circle to its diameter. So this is part 2. Well, we know C equals KD because we're told that circumference is proportional to diameter by using that constant of proportionality. We just found that constant, so all you have to do to write your equation is to substitute it in. So C equals 3.14D. That is all you have to do in order to write your equation. This is something that a lot of people have struggled with in the past. Please do not overthink it. Once you find your constant, substitute it into the equation and you're done. Okay, so that was part 2. Now, part 3. What is the circumference of a circle with a 6-inch diameter? When we start using our equations, the first thing you must do is rewrite the equation. So C equals 3.14D. Now, substitute in what we know. We know we have a 6-inch diameter. That's our D. So C equals 3.14 times 6. We go ahead and multiply that out. C equals 18.84. And we were labeling in meters. So the circumference of a circle with a 6-inch diameter would be 18.84 meters. Alright, and then just a little reminder on our sticky note here, the constant of proportionality is also called the unit rate. We may flip back and forth between the different words. Make sure you just understand that they're both the same thing. Okay, time for you to try a couple out. Determine whether the set of numbers in each table is proportional. If the relationship is proportional, identify the constant of proportionality and explain your reasoning. So if it's a yes, explain what that constant of proportionality is. If it's a no, explain why it's not. You're given 2 examples here. Make sure you're showing your work for each.